Things get a lot more heated than usual in this one. Piers Morgan goes head-to-head with Professor Marandi, challenging his credibility, his objectivity, and whether he's willing to criticize his own government. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's get straight into it.
Churches are being destroyed by the Israeli regime, and unlike the synagogue in Tehran, which was bombed by the Israeli regime, all Iranian churches and all Iranian synagogues are well protected by the people of Iran. You don't want to say that, you don't want to believe that, because it goes against that narrative that you've built in your mind, and that actually it's the Iranians that are the good guys. They're the ones who are the anti-genocide people, and your governments are the pro-genocide people. It's been like that for the whole 47
Well, yeah, the reality,
years.
look, the reality is you always like to make this ad hominem as fast as you possibly can, and you prop up and defend a regime that has for 47 years oppressed its people and been a provider of funds and arms to a number of terror groups, including Hamas, Hezbollah and the Houthis. So whilst I'll take moral lectures from some people, you wouldn't be top of my list for the morality lecture, Professor. So try and avoid the ad hominem all the time, because it slightly devalues your information, which I do find useful, about the Iranian perspective on what is happening with this war right now. And just to be clear about what I said about Christians, I was quoting this from the Human Rights Watch in its World Report. It wasn't my view, wasn't my information, wasn't my investigative work. It was the Human Rights Watch. You might have a problem with that. You might say that it's all untrue. But I'm quoting a reputable organisation who say that your regime has been oppressing Christians. You say otherwise. People can make their own minds up. I can only assume that if there were substantive peace talks that are about to happen imminently, you might be involved in a delegation. Am I right to assume that?
Well, first I have to respond. I don't really want to lecture you because I don't think you're the sort of person who would ever change. You're so narrow-minded that you refuse to set foot in Iran. And I'm sure you haven't read the book that I offered you to read. It wasn't written by an Iranian or someone on the Iranian payroll. It was written by two Americans, one of whom is Jewish. But in any case, of course I don't accept Human Rights Watch. Go and look at where the funding comes from. Iranian people know and respect the Christian community here. If you go to any church in Tehran, if you go to any synagogue in Tehran, you see that there are no police officers there. Why? Because no one will ever think about threatening the Christian and Jewish community in Iran. But that same Jewish community is bombed by Israel. Their synagogue is destroyed by Israel. I haven't seen Human Rights Watch condemn that. And it's because they're anti-Zionists. And the Christian community, by the way, had martyrs in this war because of the bombing. And in Lebanon, they've murdered Christians. And I'm pretty sure Human Rights Watch is not too troubled about the carpet bombing in Beirut, but we'll leave it at that. But yes, I may go with the delegation. They have not asked me to go. If they do go, right now the Iranians have not decided to go to Pakistan, to Islamabad, because of the behavior of Trump and the Trump regime.
So we have a situation here where YouTube has terminated the channel belonging to Explosive Media, the pro-Tehran group that got quite infamous for its Lego-themed animations mocking President Trump and the US war effort. Let's take a look at some of their stuff to remind viewers.
I don't understand why you let the people down and make them feel so grand. Yo. Secrets leaking, pressure rising, your fake savior era, I ran it, yo. You posted yourself as Jesus, crown on your head, healing the sick, nah, you dropping bombs.
So the Iranian government's explicitly framed the ban as a violation of free expression, claiming the move was a deliberate attempt to suppress the truth and shield the American administration's false narrative from competing voices. And as some people have pointed out, that's pretty rich coming from a regime that controls the press and kills protesters, and in your case, for example, makes you so supine to them that you dare not express any criticism of your government whatsoever, do you? You don't, because yes, I've invited you to, and you can't do it.
Oh, yes, I live in fear of the government. Absolutely. And I'm supposed to, when I'm on your show for like 10 minutes and then you're attacking Iran throughout and saying all sorts of nonsense, I'm supposed to sing along with you? No, of course not. And by the way, my Instagram account was deleted. My Facebook account was deleted. And so was many of my colleagues and students. All of the Iranian media is sanctioned. Everything, government, semi-government, privately owned, that are major media outlets in Iran, they're all sanctioned. So, and it's not just Iran, Lebanese, Yemeni, Iraqi, any media outlet that doesn't mimic the Western narrative, or at least try to live alongside it without much criticism, it's banned. And so, and that's why people in the West can't hear anything from Iran. However, in Iran, all you have to do is turn on the TV, and you have hundreds of Persian language media outlets funded by Western governments that are beaming into our homes day and night.
Okay, can you, out of interest, can you name me a high-profile comedy show in Iran that mocks the government in the same way that you have in America and the UK?
I don't know. There are different programs. I haven't watched television for years. I only watch the news maybe 3 or 4 times a week.
I'm only
on
after
Iranian
one.
television. But you can right now, people can search, and underneath the comment section, people can put links to them. But by the way, many of them are banned on YouTube. I myself have many interviews on RT that have all disappeared. My interviews on Press TV, they've all disappeared. They're gone forever.
Well, the reason for that, I presume, is because you're perceived to... Well, the reason for that is you're perceived... Well, hang on. You're perceived to be a propagandist for the Iranian regime, okay?
Oh,
and
okay.
I think I asked you last time, the best way to test this is I can be very critical, as I have been this morning on social media, about my government and my Prime Minister. I've demanded that he resign, right? I've done the same about President Trump when I disagree with him. But could you right now, speaking from Tehran on this show, can you think of one critical thing you would level at your leadership in Iran? Just give me one criticism of them.
Everything, every day. If you just come to... I invited you to come to Iran. Press TV...
Well, give me one now.
Well, okay, I'll tell you. Press TV has said they'll broadcast live a debate between you and me for hours. Live
no, that wasn't
Tehran.
my question. That wasn't my question.
Well, then
question
you can come to Tehran.
Give me one... To prove that you do not live in a place which suppresses freedom of speech, I'm just asking you, as a critically minded professor who presumably likes to, explore all possibilities of thought and process.
Presumably.
Give me one criticism. Give me one criticism of your current regime, your current leadership. Give me one. One thing you don't agree with about them.
The government in Iran has problems with inflation. It has problems with crime. It has problems with jobs. It has problems with inflation. It has all sorts of problems. But my government does not help the Israeli regime carry out genocide. And you have never said that you do not accept ethno-supremacism. Because if you say you don't, that means you do not accept the legitimacy of the Israeli regime. Do you accept?
You have never accepted.
Do you accept?
You have never accepted.
Hang on. Tell me. Do you reject ethno-supremacism? Do you believe that a regime that is based on ethno-supremacism is illegitimate or not?
Well, I don't exactly know what you mean. What do you mean?
Is a regime that is based on the concept of ethno-supremacism, is it legitimate or not?
Well, what I would repeat to you is what I've repeated to people about Israel for the last year. The Israeli government, not the people of Israel or the country, but its current government under Bibi Netanyahu has been doing a lot of things which I strongly disagree with. Yeah.
Do you reject a regime that accepts, that carries out a regime, not an administration, not a government, a regime that is based on ethno-supremacism?
Well, I literally last week...
That is why Hezbollah dies.
Let me answer.
That's why people in Hezbollah die for the people of Gaza.
Fine. If you let me answer, only last week I attacked the Israeli government and Ben-Gvir in particular for the way they brought in a new law which would only kill Palestinians who they deemed terrorists, execute them with the death penalty, but not Israelis. Right? I thought that was outrageous and appalling and probably an example of what you're talking about.
You know, if you were talking about apartheid South Africa like this, or if anyone was, you would be attacking them. If anyone had given me the same answer when I said, you accept a regime that's based on racial superiority or on racial preferences or hierarchy, you would have been totally aggressive and rejected it outright.
I've literally just told you. You didn't obviously watch it.
You didn't.
You obviously didn't watch it. I've literally just told you. I've literally just told you that last week I did exactly that.
About a law. That's a law. I'm talking about the regime itself. That law is only brought about because of the nature of the regime. That's why people rape others, Palestinians in prison, and they're treated as heroes.
And what about your regime?
That's why.
What about your regime?
My lovely regime
of theocratic fascists who murder thousands of protesters for protesting against them? What about that?
I know. Okay, let me go. First of all, you're hiding the fact that you could not answer this question by saying this. However, I'm glad you raised this. This nonsense was all created in order to justify this war. Trump himself, just a couple of weeks ago, said that he sent weapons to the so-called protesters. How is it possible, if those protests were organic and they were spontaneous, that they needed weapons? How did he know who they were? How many
protesters did your regime kill?
How did he know?
How many did you kill?
How did he know that they even use weapons, that they could use weapons? It was because
how many of your protesters did your regime kill?
Because he was afraid. You're afraid to accept the fact that he knew, and his intelligence agency knew,
answer my simple question.
Intelligence agency knew that these were not
how many thousands of protesters? How many thousands of protesters did your regime slaughter in January?
No peaceful protesters. No peaceful protesters were slaughtered by the police. In fact, the first 2 days.
What a disgusting lie.
You are the disgusting person who supports ethno-supremacism.
This is why people call you a stooge and propagandist for the regime.
Exactly. You're the stooge for the Zionist regime.
We did nothing wrong. No peaceful protesters got killed.
No,
and
I didn't say that.
You say it.
No, you're fabricating. I said they did not massacre peaceful protesters. The people that your government supported and gave weapons to, they carried out an armed insurrection. 3,117 people were killed, including hundreds of police officers and a couple of thousand innocent bystanders by people that your government armed. Your governments armed these people. Your governments murdered them. But you want to distract attention away from your own crimes, just like you're not willing to say anything about ethno-supremacism in Palestine.
Okay, we'll leave it there. The truth is people can see through it.
My biggest takeaway is this. I think Piers Morgan missed the mark in this interview. Instead of staying focused on the central issues, parts of the conversation drifted into side arguments that didn't really move the debate forward. Whether you agree with Professor Marandi or not, there were some important questions raised that deserved more direct answers. Let me know where you stand in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next one.